You're watching Beyond Market. Welcome. I'm Esther Awuni. Many thanks for joining us. Well, joining me on today's show is award-winning Nigerian actress Omotola Jalade-Ekeinde, and we'll discuss movies, youth empowerment, food security, and more. As always, you can join the conversation with the hashtag Beyond Market. You can follow my Twitter handle too at Esther Awuni, and also today you can also tweet at Real Almost Sexy. Now, Nollywood veteran with voting rights at the Academy Awards, UN World Food Programme Ambassador, and Maternal Mortality campaigner for Amnesty International are just some of the accomplishments of my guest today. She is Omotola Jalade-Ekeinde, and she joins me as we discuss movies, youth empowerment, plus lots more. Omotola, thank you so much. Pleasure to have you on the show today. So we're going to discuss so many things today, but let's start with, very important, the work you do as an ambassador for the UN World Food Programme. You also have your own charity, if I can call it that. Talk to us about it. Let's start there.
So I started working for, first and foremost, thank you very much for having me. Started working for World Food Programme in 2005, and we've had missions in Liberia, Sierra Leone, etc., etc. And basically, they wanted to, should I say, concentrate on countries that were coming out from the war, and to encourage children to go back to school. So those were the missions I took on with them at the time. Yeah. So,
but I want us to talk in depth about that, especially what you do for the UN.
Right.
I know you went on missions to Sierra Leone. Tell us what you saw and what you came away with, the feelings you came away with.
So we went to Sierra Leone just probably after the war. It was very interesting because then you could still see bullet holes and all of that from the war previously just ended. It was very overwhelming as well, but the people were ready. They had been, whilst they were at home, incarcerated because of the war going on outside, most of them had been watching Nollywood movies. And so we were quite big in their memories and everything. And the UN wanted to, if I remember correctly, they actually wanted to take Angelina Jolie.
Oh, wow.
And so, but then a lot of the Sierra Leoneans said they didn't know her, and so they asked, okay, who do you want to see? Okay. And then so they wanted to see me, so they took me there. And so pretty much it was to get them to come out, because a lot of them were still scared to come out. So it was to get them to come out and for the UN to be able to now explain to them what they want to do with them and their children going back to school and the things that they had planned for them. So for Sierra Leone particularly, that was my job description, just to get them to come out and then of course represent what the UN was doing, but it's just create an environment where they could tell them the plans they had for them.
Okay. Now, still on food security, that's a big topic. We've discussed that several times on this show, to discuss it on our live shows, and it's a real threat. And surprisingly, even for a country like Nigeria, especially in the northeastern part of the country where we have the internally displaced people, and the fact that many times even when food is provided for them, sometimes it doesn't get to them. So, just being involved with that. But what kind of impact would you say you're making, or as you're still, of course, still ambassador for them, what you would like to make in terms of impact?
Unfortunately, I have not worked in Nigeria, which is very strange. I haven't worked in Nigeria with the UNWFP, with internally displaced people or anything of that nature. If there's anything I have done in Nigeria concerning food, it has been with NOR, because I also am an ambassador for NOR, and so they always work with the World Food Programme. So that's pretty much because of their the 40 to 45 young people and all of that stuff, against iron deficiency and stuff like that. So I work with them every World Food Programme Day. And all of that. And so we work with children, teaching them how to, have enough iron in their meals, and then, generally just giving them food. So we go to schools and we give children schools. But I haven't worked with, on the World Food Day or, with the World Food Programme.
But what are your thoughts in terms of how Nigeria, we as a country, the government, civil society, international aid agencies, even local agencies within the country, addressing the issue of food security or insecurity in the country?
Food insecurity in the country. It's baffling because we have greenery. We have one of the best, if not the best, in Africa. Climate, when it comes to climate conditions and all of that, which helps food grow and help yield. And so, and with all the mass ground that we have, you would think that everybody would somewhat be. When I was growing up, I remember in those days, you know, it was almost compulsory for everybody to have some kind of vineyard or some kind of, you know,
like a
farm.
backyard garden.
Yeah,
backyard
something, you know, you would go pluck your vegetables and your tomatoes and stuff like that from your own little farm and everything. But then nowadays it's almost like a thing. Well, we're coming back to that. I think in the past 1 year or so, I've seen a lot of young people saying now that they're back into farming, which is now good. But prior to that time, it was almost like there was some kind of phobia or some kind of shame or something, you know, attached to farming, you know, and everything. So people need to get back to that, and the government needs to, you know, with this NYSC, everybody knows how I feel about NYSC, which I think is a waste, by the way. I think it's overstayed its welcome. I think it's outgrown its usefulness. If they want to reform it, these are some of the things that they might, you know, start to teach people, because which is skills development, you know, and a good part of that is also farming. Everybody, one way or the other, has some kind of farm, you know, attributed to them because of their family lineage or something. We can, you know, stop making it look like only some villagers need to farm. Everybody needs to understand how farming actually can help them, and then the, you know, economy at large. And there are so many other ways right now to do farming that are actually very cool, you know, and stuff like that. So they need to make farming and growing crops and, you know, yield and stuff like that, you know, cool, so that the young generation, this generation, can actually align with that and see, you know, its usefulness, you know, to their own generation.
Okay, still on your projects, talk to us about the Omotola Youth Empowerment Program, OYEP. What is the focus of the organization? So
OYEP is pretty much really a movement, or it's an NGO on human rights, okay? And like it says, it's a youth empowerment program, and so it was formed in 2005, I think, as well. And our purpose at the time was because we had an epidemic of young people that were Yahoo boys and the girls who were known as aristos and stuff like that. And so as I went around the country and outside the country, it was almost like a stigma, you know, that young people, Nigerian young people to be precise, you know, were, you know, no dwells. And our purpose at the time was to show the people who were doing well, who were not corrupt, who were not, you know, doing sharp practices, and to allow their voices, you know, be heard, and to let the world see that there are these people there, you know, so these other ones cannot overshadow them, and then so that they can also in turn motivate the ones that are doing other things, especially with the girls, to say, look, there are other ways to make money. You don't have to give your body out and stuff like that. And so we started that then. We did walks, we did seminars, you know, and all of that stuff. You know, we have people like Patotomi and Abikadabiri and all those people on our board, and we've been doing very well with that. So yeah, so we do OYEP virtually every other year. You know, we don't do it every year because now there's another NGO that we started as an offshoot of OYEP, just because Nigeria is some kind of a beggy country. I don't understand it. It's annoying because I'm not that much of a human. What do you mean by that? Virtually everybody needs something, and so that's the reason why OYEP was formed. We want to empower people, because my brain works first as an activist, you see, not as a humanitarian. So when I see a need or when I see a problem, I don't think my first reaction, the way my brain reacts, is not first to give you. It's to empower you. Like, know your worth, know what you carry first and foremost as a human being, and what's the, you know, as a citizen, what you're entitled to, and then empower yourself, you know. So just not to be in a position where anybody can take advantage of you. Meanwhile, humanitarianism is almost like, you know, you're always needy, you're always wanting and all of that stuff. Yes, in the short term, it's a good thing to give people, but in the long term, it's a bad thing, because you keep people constantly waiting, needing help. And so what that means is, in the long term, you are not empowering their minds, and you're not making them superhumans. They will continually think. It affects the way they think and the way they do everything. And that's why we're not so productive as a nation yet, because everybody has a sense of entitlement. Like, this, you should do something for me. You know, help me. And then so you see on social media, everybody has one story or the other. But with OYEP, we're able to take care of that, but in a different way. So with OYEP, we say our byline is, there's always something in your hand that somebody else needs. So no matter how poor you are, there's something even you can give someone else. So we're hoping that as time goes on, as we blossom into what we're supposed to be, that would have storage of things that people are donating, and then you can't get them free. You will get it. We can put almost like what they do in the US with the Army Foundation or something of that nature, or SOS or something like that, where you can go and maybe buy, something like Salvation Army, thank you. You can go and buy something, even a Gucci bag for like 100 naira, you know, so there'll be a flat rate, but that goes goes back into the system to empower, people and then to buy things. And even if you don't have money, you can bring your services. Your services, we want to teach people that even your ability is something that you can give, and stuff like that. And you can use that to empower yourself, because there's worth in that, and there's dignity in the fact that you might not have money. Money is just a means of exchange, pretty much. People need to understand it's as simple as that. It's just a means of exchange. In those days, we used to use cowries, no? It's just a means of exchange. It's not that serious.
What has the feedback been in terms of impact it's had on the youth who have been part of this program?
It's been amazing. I mean, a lot of people know about the Widows. I'm sure you probably have heard about the Widows Makeover. That's been one of our biggest, endeavors so far with Give and Let Give. And a lot of young people know about OYEP. Unfortunately, because it's been driven by me, it has not gotten as much attention as it ought to have, because then, of course, I'm pursuing my own career and everything. So we're in the process right now of reorganizing so that the pressure gets off me and there are other people that can stir it, But so far, OYEP had, at some point, we had members in every country in Africa, and it's very strong. It's very credible. So far we don't collect people's money.
But what is the big picture? You mentioned that you're not where you're supposed to be. You're still aspiring. But what is the big picture?
So the big picture for OYEP is we hope that we can get to a point where when young people are at every level, at every stage of their lives, can look up to OYEP or look to OYEP for some kind of counseling and some kind of placement. In other words, we want to get to a point where we can teach young people, for example. I believe that young people should work even when you're in school. I believe that there should be holiday jobs, because it teaches your mind how to be responsible. The country is not doing that for young people right now. My kids are doing it. A lot of my friends' kids are doing that. So that's one of our projects that we want to put in place, to make sure that young people from the age of 12 or so can be placed in little places where they can work and start to save. So they don't need to become adults before they understand, what it means to be and responsibility. And just changing our mindsets, really, that hard work can pay, and show people who over time, we have a culture here of rushing things. Everybody wants to, you start work today, you want to buy a car today. That has to stop. And that's because the society teaches you that you need to amass wealth. If the system was working, you wouldn't need to amass wealth, because the system is working. You don't need a big car. You might not even need a car at all. You might not even want a car at all. You want to get to work, you can jump on some train or some BRT that you're sure will get you there. And you won't feel bad that you're in BRT, because the man who is sitting down next to you is not sneezing into your nose and sniffing or doing kelebe. Stuff like that, because people are informed, and lifestyle generally has improved. The problem we have right now is the difference between the upper class and the lower class. The gap is too wide. And why is it so wide? Because there are no amenities around that make people feel worthy.
Omotola, we'll take a quick break. Thank you for your time so far. When we come back, we'll talk movies and some other fun stuff. I've been speaking to Omotola Jalade-Ekeinde, Nigerian actress and UN World Food Program Ambassador. We're continuing our focus on Nollywood and youth empowerment. Still with me is Omotola Jalade-Ekeinde, Nigerian actress and UN World Food Program Ambassador. Thank you so much, Omotola, for your time so far.
Thank you.
Let's go right into movies now. Let's start with Nollywood. How do you see the industry evolving? How is it reinventing itself to stay relevant in our world today?
Oh, of course, the cinema culture, the big elephant in the room. So I think we're evolving, obviously, and we're trying to catch up with the rest of the world. I'm not very sure if it will work totally for us because of the kind of people that we are. We started out being a cinema culture nation, and then somewhere along the line we derailed and we went into the video era, and and so now we're coming back into the cinemas, where unfortunately one of our biggest competition is internet. So I think we're coming into it a little bit late at this point, but then we're trying our best, and we're trying to find our feet in all of this. So yeah, so this is where we are right now in the industry, and we're struggling, but we're doing it. It's getting better. We don't have enough screens. We need people to invest more and to build more theaters, more cinemas, community centers.
For an industry that makes so much money, and ranking third in the world, I would imagine that it's a very fertile ground in terms of, from an investment point of view. So what would you say is a problem? Why aren't we seeing that level of investment in the industry?
Corruption.
Oh, really? How so?
The corruption that we're very used to in this country, because we're used to quick money, you know. You want to go to the oil sector where you know you can put this kind of money and then this kind of thing will come out, or you want to go invest in politics because you know at the end of the day you support some flag bearer or some...
Are you saying there's no good return on investment?
There is good return on investment, it's just that you have to be a little bit patient, and the average Nigerian doesn't want to be patient. They want to see the money right back, like, you know, and they want the yao, they want the kind of money
turnaround time.
Yeah, turnaround time, and then maybe unplanned money. We need to build a system that actually can last. And that's why we've been having the issues with the recession and all of that, because we've built a system that doesn't have data, that has no foundation. So it's put it in there, and then the returns come, and then there's so much, blah, 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 and you take it all out. And then, you know, so there's no structure. We're not following, you know, the rights, you know, how will I put it now, of things, and to see things grow, you know, organically, and then you know you can see how much you've put in, you can see how much that comes back, and then you can invest more. The people who did that with the movie industry, for example, were, like I said earlier, the marketers. And so now these other guys that we're hoping that would come and bring in the kind of money with the kind of intellect and organization that they have put maybe into other sectors, are coming eventually, but you know they've been, unfortunately, they've gone neck deep into the other sectors where you know it was, like I said earlier, it was boop, boop, boop.
But it's actually caught the attention of the government, and I know that at some point it did get some attention and support, monetary support from the government.
I don't like to talk too much about that because I might blow up some things, but yeah, it did get the attention of the government, but it wasn't done right. Let me just put it that way. It wasn't done right. It's one thing for the government to understand what a sector holds for it and its economy, and it's another thing for it to do it right, and you know to put things on ground that are lasting and that are not politically connected, so that when you leave government, you know, it doesn't go with you. It's not tied to you or anything like that, which is the problem we've had in Nigeria.
It was politicized at some point.
Exactly, it was really politicized, and it wasn't structured properly. So I hope that Nollywood will not be one of those kind of sectors where they will use as, you know, a tool for whatever they want. I hope that it can understand the lasting good that it can do to this economy and to Nigeria, even our image and all of that, and remove it from their politicking and just, you know, invest in it and invest in the structure so that it can outlive all of us.
Speaking about image, from a storytelling perspective, what are your thoughts on how we're telling our stories as a people in terms of the quality of the script and how we're just basically portraying ourselves as a people through our stories and writing?
I think we're doing fantastically well. We could do better. I mean, you could always do better, but we're doing well. I remember I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and he was like, Omotola, you guys need to do better with your stories and with the voodoo part of it. There's nothing wrong with African voodoo, because the thing of, I mean, look at a lot of Hollywood projects, you know, look at, I don't know what Harry Potter is on witchcraft, isn't it? It's witchcraft.
Yeah, I mean, we have the superheroes.
Yeah, and all of that. I mean, like, you know, so, but they write the stories and then they make it so glossy and they make it look fantastic.
I think we're beginning to do that, aren't we? I mean, we have a very rich history of, you know, certain number of gods,
I mean, Shango is pretty much Thor. No.
Yeah, if you think,
it's Thor. You know, so I think we just need to see ourselves different. I think we're the ones doing that to ourselves. We're the ones thinking everything African is really gothic. If we begin to look at ourselves like, you know what the hell? Like, this is what we have. Okay, how do we make it beautiful? How do we, you know, I mean, Black Panther came out and they feasted on us. And there was not even one African in that movie.
Do you think Nollywood paid attention to that and is
how going to pay attention to that when we don't even know he's existed or it's about to happen?
I mean, like you said, Black Panther, that was a very good, very open example.
They didn't cast any African in that or Nigerian in that. Let me say Nollywood.
I'm saying Nollywood taking something away and say, okay, let's bring this back home to Nigeria.
We're doing our own thing. We're doing it great. I think we just need to collaborate. That's what we need to do. We need to collaborate more. And thank God we have a lot of our people right now who are actually breaking into this and that, you know. And so I think what we're going to do now is we're going to bring what we have and see how we can use what they have to make it better in our own way and all of that stuff. But I don't want Nollywood to deviate from our stories. I think the reason why we became the third largest movie industry, arguably, some people say the second, you know, is because of our story. It can't be because of the quality. You know, I'm sure you know that. that already. So it is strictly because of our story. So I think that's our strength. That's our the fact that we have culture, and the fact that, I mean, African Americans love that. So pieces, they would love, you know, that's why Black Panther did what he did, because they stole our culture to do that movie, no? All right. So we have our culture, we have our mannerisms, the way we talk, our gesticulations. We have deep things that are just us. And the minute we begin to do very happy movies that, you know, don't have those things in it, and we're trying to be Western, we lose that. So we can just make it better. But
what are your dreams and hopes for Nollywood in the future, 10, 20, 30 years from now?
That will become #1. I know we will. I've always said it, and I'm sure we will. We'll become we'll beat Hollywood, that's for sure. It's not even it's going to happen. We just need to get serious. We need to, so 10, 20, 30 years from now, I hope that we would have built an industry that our children and our children's children will not have to struggle as much as we have to navigate. I hope we'll have structures, and I hope that we'll have an industry that Black people, not just Africans, but Black people would now want to come to. The way the whole world wants to go to Hollywood, I pray that a time will come when the whole world wants to come to Nollywood, especially Black people would now be proud of Nollywood and what we've been able to achieve.
Let's talk quickly. We have about 4 minutes left. Life, I mean, as a woman in cinema, in the movie industry, I mean, you're a wife, you're a mother of 4 children, you're an actress, activist. What are the superpowers you have?
I'm a superpower. What's like the superpower? My superpower is my brain.
So, but looking back, what would you say has been the biggest endeavor life endeavor you've had so far?
I've not done it yet. I haven't. I mean, no, I haven't. I look forward to the things that are about to happen. And I can't pick one because I've done a lot of great things.
What is your biggest project right now?
My biggest?
Project right now.
I don't like to talk about projects before they come out, but I guess you can say right now, I'm very more towards the international industry, because that's what's pulling me right now. Okay. I'm not leaving Nollywood. I will never leave Nollywood. But it has influenced you a lot in terms of how you see acting, and perhaps how you see the industry here. What, Hollywood? Yes, Hollywood. Oh yes, I mean, what influence is the biggest, you always look towards or look at, the biggest market you have, or the biggest of your career, or of your industry. So yes, the biggest so far for now. So yes, the world influence is okay, but sometimes when you look at Nollywood, I mean, obviously with being part of, to some extent, being part of Hollywood and then still being part of Nollywood, for you as an actress still in Nollywood, would you say that the industry really now, can the industry truly afford you, really? Where you are right now, Omotola Jalade-Ekeinde, can Nollywood afford you? Even when I was a nobody, you couldn't afford me. You might not know it, but I know it, so you can't afford me. So it's not really about affording or not affording. It's about what you bring to the table. I look forward to working and collaborating with people who have guts. That's what I'm looking for. So you don't always have to have all the cash to pay me. But when I see guts and when I see that you're going somewhere, I'm ready to jump in with you. Let's do it. Now, you've had a myriad of awards. Which would you say has been the most, or is the most special to you? I haven't won it yet. That will be? I love all of them. I've won virtually every award I can. But I've not won my Oscars yet. Come on. And of course, you are doing something with Oscars. Tell us about that. Oh, okay. So I just got inducted, as a member of the Academy. What does that entail? What is required of you? Okay, so immediately, I think that the first job that I've been given is that I can vote, movies that are going to, yes. So I'm voting rights of the movies that have been submitted for the Oscars in 2019. So yeah, I'll be traveling very soon because they're having a gala to formally induct us and then tell us all the things that we can achieve. But trust me, I already wrote them a letter. Concerning Nollywood, really? There's no time to waste. I'm hoping that they can do something specially for Nollywood. I know they've never. And I know when I did that letter and I told the immediate correspondent that I'm working with in London, she laughed at first. She was like, Omotola, they're not going to do something special for Nollywood. And I said, no, but they can, and they will. She's like, okay, try, right? Okay. And so I wrote the president directly. So what do you have in mind if they were to do something, if they were to agree? I'm not going to tell you what, but trust me, if it works, it's going to be amazing. and we deserve it. So they
Something like the Black Panther?
Oh no, it's not a movie. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
it's just some kind of inclusion and
recognition.
And not necessarily recognition, but just an olive branch towards Nollywood, and to adjust some things to cater to us, even if it's temporarily.
Okay.
And I know that's a big thing to ask, but let's see how it goes.
Okay, fingers crossed. Omotola, thank you so much for talking to us today. An absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Pleasure is
I've been
mine.
speaking to Omotola Jalade-Ekeinde, Nigerian actress and UN World Food Programme Ambassador. That's it on Beyond Markets. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Remember, you can watch all previous episodes of the show on our website. That's CNBCAfrica.com. You can also stay engaged with the hashtag Beyond Markets, and you can follow my Twitter handle too at SRO Awuni. From myself and the rest of the team, thank you for watching and have a great day.